Off. Joining us now, the Lieutenant Governor of Illinois, Juliana Stratton. She's also a candidate for U.S. Senate. Thank you so much for joining us. Donald Trump says the people of Chicago are calling out for him to intervene. He says some people want a dictator. He said he was not that, though. How does the city of Chicago feel about Donald Trump's desire to send in the troops?
Well, thank you for having me. And let me just start by saying I saw that clip where he says he's not a dictator, but I don't know too many people who have to spend a lot of their time explaining to others that they're not a dictator unless they're trying to be one. I mean, look, I'm someone who has been born and raised in the city of Chicago. I've spent my entire career here. I've raised my family here. No one is asking for him to come to Chicago. Donald Trump is not focused on creating safer communities. He's only trying to really create chaos. And he's doing so because he is a small man. He is a wannabe dictator who can't stand the thought of not being right in the center of attention. He's a weak man. And from my standpoint, all he wants to do is feed his ego and distract from his many failures as the president. So that's how we view it. And I can tell you that Governor Pritzker and I are not going to roll out the red carpet for this wannabe dictator.
What exactly will you do?
Well, look, I mean, we are going to work with all of our stakeholders as we have been. I mean, from the very beginning of this administration, we have made it clear that we are going to protect our people. We are going to follow the law. We are going to work with our partners, and such as the business community, such as our attorney general.
Yeah, but what does any of that mean? I mean, does it mean that you block him from going in? What does it effectively mean?
Well, what it means is that we have everything on the table to make sure that, number one, we first of all speak out and make it clear that he is not welcomed here. That's the very first thing. And that is a message that we have made very clear. They have not reached out to us. We have not made any request for these resources. There's no need for these additional resources right now. Chicago is not a city that is looking to have Donald Trump send armed militia. That is not the way that you bring safety to our communities, have armed militia roaming the streets. Secondly, as you've seen, we've been partnering with our attorney general, the city of Chicago, and all of at every level of government to make sure if there are other processes that we need to proceed, we will do so. But I've been leading public safety in a role of public safety for our administration. I've done that my whole life. I lead the Justice, Equity, and Opportunity Initiative. And if Donald Trump is claiming this is about making communities safer at a time that we've seen crime go down here in the city of Chicago, that is not what this is about. And we have to call it out.
Crime has gone down, you're right. And the numbers do show that. The first half of 2025, lowest number of homicides since 2014, which is, it's good. It's better. But aggravated assaults hit a 20-year high in 2024. And when you're still talking about, it's the lowest since 2014, I don't think anyone's celebrating, that we have fewer homicides. People would like no homicides. They'd like safer streets. So I wonder if you think there is, I know problem is a loaded word, but if crime is still an issue that has yet to be fully dealt with in Chicago, and if there's a way to deal with it without Donald Trump, because right now his argument that, the Democrats are making, saying that crime is no big deal, I mean, that's effective among some corners or among some populations in this country.
Have never used that language. What I'm saying is we've been making progress by doing what we do here in Illinois, and that is leading. We've made progress. I lead something called the Restore, Reinvest, and Renew program. We have invested millions, tens of millions of dollars into our communities for youth programs, for economic development, for violence prevention. We have the Peacekeepers programs in partnership with the city of Chicago, where there's direct on the street intervention. It is not by sending armed militia. No one is asking for that. Illinoisans are not saying, please come to our state and have troops walking down the street. Business owners aren't asking for that. Do you think it's good for business for that while, people want to go out to dinner and you see armed troops walking down the street or people in uniforms? That is not something that is good for business. Do you think it's good for people like my daughter who goes to school and is in 4th grade to have to focus on learning, but she's getting out and heading to her school and having to see that? That
Yeah.
is not something that is focused on making people safer. It is to instill fear, and it is all to stoke the ego of a wannabe dictator who is Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, there were numbers that the Times was reporting on in Washington, D.C., that showed that despite what Donald Trump claims, that dining out at restaurants in D.C. was down after the federal takeover, that people were not feeling good about going out. Certainly not enough to go out and eat dinner out. One quick question. I showed that clip of Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, telling Donald Trump what the state would actually need. Is there something that you would ask for? Donald Trump wants to send in troops. What could you use better from the federal government to help the city?
What I would say is that while Donald Trump is busy playing dictator, American families are suffering because of his failures. And what are the people of Illinois asking? I get to talk to them all the time as I'm on this path of running for United States Senate. Look at what the tariffs have done. It's raised prices for working class families and everyday goods. He's stripping people away of their health care. Guess what people want right now? They want access to quality, affordable health care. He's made it harder to put food on the table. No family is asking for that. So if he wants to do something, stop taking away what will help American families succeed and move up in life. Access to opportunity. That's what people want. And by the way, when you do that, you will see safer communities as well.
Madam Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.